Hi, I'm Cindy, and welcome to another session of QT Academy. This time we're going to talk about pressing and ironing, and it's a very important part of sewing and quilting, but sometimes there's questions about that, and so we're going to go over some basics for you. Let's talk about when you first have your fabric, whether you brought it home from the store, whether you got it off your shelf from your stash. You may have washed it, not washed it. That's your choice how you do the washing or not. But let's talk about the pressing. You always want to press before you cut. And so let's review one of the aspects of the fabric that we're working with. In quilting especially, you're working most of the time with 100% cotton. It's a natural fiber and it's a woven fabric. If you remember when we reviewed grain line, we reviewed the basics of grain, and so there are two grain lines. What runs between the selvages, the cross grain, has significant stretch. What runs parallel to the selvages, the lengthwise grain, has no stretch. So stability, not stability, even though they're both considered on grain. So let's talk about what that means for ironing. So you have your bulk yardage, you're going to lay it on your ironing board. And one of the things about pressing in quilting, and it's me, maybe, but I know a lot of other people feel the same way, is that I don't like to use steam. The only time I do like to use steam is when I'm pressing bulk yardage. And the reason for this is steam is water. Water has hydrogen. Hydrogen molecules interact with those in the natural fiber of cotton. They kind of get together, have a little party. The fabric becomes very malleable and very soft. And so when the fabric is in that state and then you're ironing and pressing, you can easily push it out of shape. That's the concept, though, behind, and the principle behind when you are tailoring or when you are sewing garments. As an example, when you want to shape a sleeve and you're doing it either on a dress form or you're using a pressing hand, the combination of steam or water with the heat relaxes the fiber, makes it nice and soft. You then reset that shape of that fabric as the heat dries the fabric into its new form or its new shape. So, combining moisture with the heat for purposes like tailoring and shaping is very important. It can work against you when you're working in quilting, especially when you're working with small pieces. But even at the beginning, when you're pressing your bulk yardage, it's important to know how to work with that. I'm just going to move my cord here a little bit. So let's talk about that. We know that the grain runs both directions. If you go sideways between the selvages, you're pressing in the on the stretchier, the softer part of the grain line. And a lot of people just go any which way, and the steam is coming out, and it's moist, and the fabric's getting a little loosey-goosey, so you can push this a little bit out of shape, actually. If you are ironing your bulk fabric, it's kind of better to keep the iron moving parallel to the selvage. You're going with the stable part of the yardage, and you're keeping that yardage in the best shape possible prior to when you're ready to cut. So that's my suggestion for pressing off your original fabric. I hope that gives you a little bit of insight into a few questions you might have had, and we'll see you next time on another QT Academy.